We straight, we straight.
All right, peace, 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 Brandon Lamar Bass, the king, the god, the G himself. Much pleasure to be with you here again, bro. Well, what can I say? We're here in this world again. I mean, it is what we make of it after all. So, like, yeah, just as long as you know that things could have always been much worse, be grateful for the good that you're experiencing right now. And pleasure to be here with you, bro. How's it been?
Oh yeah, it's always been a pleasure recording these videos with you and just like helping people like awaken for those who wanna take the message, because it's all about people who are seeking out that knowledge instead of trying to force people to read the knowledge or know the knowledge because everyone has their own journeys.
And people need to realize the journey is literally, we know what the end goal is. The end goal that speaks for itself. We know that the end goal is there waiting for us to reach it, and we're gonna get there one way or the other. So yeah, but I mean to say, like, the journey in and of itself, bro, you're talking about like a freaking roller coaster ride. You got those swinging sides, you got those freaking loops, you got like roads filled with freaking spikes and watery abysses with sharks, and you got freaking flame pits and all that type of shit. I'm like, yo, the journey ain't, it's not for the faint of heart. And if you don't strengthen your mind and keep your emotions in check, which a lot of niggas in particular gotta do, then bro, I'm telling you, you're not going to make it. Because to be in this realm, big shout out to Dr. Mumbi when she mentioned Seven Bomar, when he said, by the way, yeah, people's Seven Bomar, Sevan Bomar, Bomar. So yeah, it's literally written as it's pronounced. But suffice it to say, she mentioned how Seven himself mentioned how being in this realm is literally a processing center. God, generator, operator, destroyer, which we are having a temporary human experience, had to literally allow itself to go to the lowest of lows in order to experience what it is to be in the lowest of lows, so that you could literally raise yourself back and remember who you are, like put all the pieces back together and whatnot, and yeah, get back to your divinity. Because with all the shit that we as a melanated collective has suffered for the last 400, 500 years at the hands of those who, well, are lacking in melanin. So, like, we need to remember, big shout out to brother C. Freeman L. May he be in a better place, as well as brother Panic. May he also be in a much better place. How they've taught us, yo, this so called white man, stop giving him power. Stop talking about him. That's the number one thing that this motherfucker wants, for you to focus on his cheesy ass, so that you can continue to justify an existence that, when you really stop and think about it, you gotta feel sorry for him. I mean, without any sunscreen, without any sunblock and whatnot, this motherfucker goes into the sun. Bro, not even a good 5 minutes. He is broiling red with freaking blisters. I mean, I've seen it. I even saw like a time. Yeah, I was in one of the more touristic areas in SM, called Maho. I witnessed this so-called white woman with a freaking rash, a red rash on her back, and I'm like, I feel sorry for y'all. It was looking so bad, right, bro? But I'm like, it also explains, because you've got brethren like Real Merkaba and Richard King. He's wrote great books on it. How these people, due to their lack of melanin, it also creates issues with empathy, with the emotions and whatnot. Like, think about it. Watch any movie, and as well as documentary, showing you the majority of serial killers are who? Freaking so-called white males. That's not a coincidence, bro. These motherfuckers, due to their lack of melanin, and I'm not being racist. How am I being racist? And the science is literally there for you to easily access. All it takes is a simple Google search and whatnot, or go on DuckDuckGo, look on different alternative sites and whatnot, so you could see the truth. Or you even got a bunch of qualified brethren, far more qualified than you and I combined, who's explaining all this stuff in detail. You know what I mean, bro? So, like, yeah, these people. It's not impossible for them to achieve higher levels of consciousness and to move beyond this physical realm. You know what I mean? But I mean, even brother Rashad Jamal, shout out to him. He's mentioned time after time, yo, are you with us in the sense of, I'm not saying that, yeah, we should be the best of homies or anything, because I've got niggas that I'm all too aware of in this realm, bro. I don't want to have shit to do with those motherfuckers, and they're melanated as well. So yeah, I'm saying, you motherfuckers, do you really want to raise to a higher level? Do you want to rise to a higher level? Or do you want to continue to stay in that root chakra fucking animalistic beastly level that you continue to exist since you were genetically modified into existence? You know what I mean? And again, this is stuff that you could, there are so many videos and there are so many lectures and books written over the existence of so-called white people. But that's not important. What is important is that we as melanated people should remember that which we focus on the most. Shout out to Bobby Hemmett on that one. That which we focus on the most literally is our God, generator, operator, destroyer. So you're focusing on the damn cracker all the time. Of course, that motherfucker is going to be front, left, right, and center in your life. So stop focusing on the things that don't empower you. Ralph Smart, Infinite Water, shout out to him. Focus only on the things that empower you. Don't focus on the things that take your power away. Straight up. So yeah, I got a lot of interesting videos to share today, bro. At the very least, I do wish that we do have enough time to go through them, because it's some good stuff, bro. It's some really interesting revelations. And once again, you got a lot of brethren out there. Big shout out to them. They are far more qualified than you and I to literally explain just what spirituality is. Like, going back to what it was that you said, like the path we got to take and whatnot. It's not just one particular road. You're going to take multiple different roads within your life, especially when you get into spirituality, because spirituality isn't a religion. It is literally you going on the path of rediscovering who it is that you truly are. Take it away, bro.
Oh yeah, it's all about focusing on joy and what really matters in your life, to be honest. And then for like the sunscreen part, it's kind of like funny how like people who have melanin still need sunscreen, even though like they really can't take the sun. So we at this point, you know what I'm saying? We
They
all
have the natural sunscreen in their skin and they still fucking need sunscreen, which is literally uh slaughtered melanated people. Yes, slaughtered melanated people. Bobby Hemmett went into it in past lectures already. So you're taking the substance of slaughtered brothers and sisters so you could cover your already present sunscreen, which is the melanin in your skin, which is one of the oldest substances in existence. Take it away, bro.
Yeah, it really doesn't even make any sense, but we all know like with their like what they inject with their poison and whatnot, it really like messed up their immune system, which is really their immunity, but now they all have weakened immune systems, so it's now weakened or died off. So at this point we all know why they that they really need sunscreen, because at the end of the day, the sun is just gonna be burning people alive with all these solar flares and everything like that. And then for like the journey way, it's like so many people wish and desire that they could be other people, like their favorite celebrity, and oh yeah, I wish I could have that, or I wish I can be like that person. But at the end of the day, they really don't know their story or how they got to where they are. So if you really want to experience what they're living, you have to go through all their journeys and all their paths, that how they got there, you know what I'm saying? So at this point, you
Mm-hmm.
just gotta like really focus on yourself, because at the end of the day, why experience someone else's journey just to get to where they are when you don't even really know what they had to experience and what they gone through, stuff like that. So
I mean, yeah, you basically hit the nail on the head right there, bro. Like, your journey, you, Brandon Bass, your journey isn't my journey. Andy Labardi's journey, and which is all just personas that we take, characters that we take, much like playing CJ and all those other characters and throughout the Grand Theft Auto games. Like, you may be playing as CJ, but you're not CJ. You're literally the player who is beyond the game who is controlling CJ's avatar, because CJ is just an identity that you take in the game so you can monitor and navigate through that world. You know what I mean? Because what is the ultimate goal of these video games? To literally conquer each level so that you can literally get to the finish line. Because it was never about the finish line. You already knew about the finish line. Or even if you didn't know what the finish line was, you at least have an idea that it has to come to an end somewhere. But it's about the journey. You know what I mean? The journey that you took was definitely what you're going to remember, not that you reached the finish line, because your journey isn't my journey. My journey isn't Dr. Mumbi's journey. Dr. Mumbi's journey isn't Real Merkaba's journey. Real Merkaba's journey is not that of Young Pharaohs. That of Young Pharaohs is not General Seti's journey. And we know Bobby Hemmett and Brother Panic's journeys are two completely different journeys, and so on and so forth. Heck, Brother Panic already finished his journey in his avatar, as well as C. Freeman L. So may these brothers definitely already have risen in a much better place. And it goes on, bro, and so on and so forth. So, like, yeah, it's foolish to compare yourself. And we gotta blame melanated people, especially for this shit, because if you really look at so-called white people, right? They don't really do that with their children, bro. Neither do the Chinese or the Arabs or any of these motherfuckers, the Indians. They don't do this with their children. Yo, they would tell them, see what your talents are, see what it is you're capable of doing, and use what it is that you already have at your disposal, aka your talents, in order to achieve that which it is that you are. Simple. Why is it that niggas gotta make things so fucking difficult, especially in the times and seasons we're living in, when they could just literally get back to their spiritual sciences in order to achieve the status, at the very least, the higher level of human living that we have achieved for millions of cycles being in this realm. So, like, yeah, bro, as melanated people especially got to be really blamed for how can I say, dumping a lot of garbage into their children's minds. Because remember, the first 7 years of a child's life are the formative years. Those are 7 years that, depending on how you were raised by your parents and the people around you, those morals and statutes and whatnot, even if you don't like dispose of all of them, those are things that are going to follow you everywhere throughout your entire incarnation as we speak. So yeah, melanated people, especially when you're talking about this damn system. Remember Neo and Morpheus in the Matrix. You have to be aware of the system you're living in, because even Nuwapu did a good job sharing it. Why do you, melanated man and woman, continue to give all your energy, love, blood, sweat, and tears to a system that doesn't give a shit about you? A system that continues to bring you down, a system that continues to ridicule you and mock you, saying you got nappy hair and all this shit, when your hair is literally an antenna, a beautiful antenna that defies gravity, if that's even a real thing, so that you could literally communicate with different vibrations and frequencies all across the universe, and including the environment that you're wherever you currently are. Your skin literally contains one of, if not the oldest element, which is carbon based in existence, melanin. Think about it. There's a big shout out to Dr. Jewel Pukram on that. The fact that you and I, right now, we could go to one of the hottest freaking places near the equator, bro. And that sun could be burning, scorching hot, and we could literally just chill and enjoy ourselves all fucking day. And going back to something what Brother Panic himself said in a video when he was mentioning about how music and the CIA and all this shit is tied, because of course the CIA, we know it, they helped lead to the creation of, because let's be honest, rap was created by us, niggas, but much like what Dr. Phil Valentine spoke about before, it was in a more elementary experimental phase, so that, yeah, eventually the rap itself could evolve into something higher. But then the CIA realized that melanin, because these motherfuckers be in the laboratory literally looking up all this shit, and you got all these melanated Christians out here singing hallelujah, Holy Ghost, praise Jesus, and this and that. Like what the Bobby Hemmett said. You want to talk about crack cocaine? Try get off of that fucking religious bullshit. What the Brandon Bass, I'm telling you, because melanin, it absorbs light frequencies, energy frequencies, vibrations of all different kinds. Once you get a melanated person on that religion, especially remember the formative years at the age of 7 and basically the younger years, it's going to be difficult for them to get off of that shit because religion is the worst fucking thing that you can give an individual, or rather in the hands of an extremely wicked entity. It is the best tool to use to spiritually cripple an individual. But much like what Brother Panic was saying before, um, with the fact that you and I could chill in really super hot climates, bro. And the worst that's gonna happen is we're just gonna get a little darker because the melanin absorbs. You know what I mean? But these people, we really need to learn to put our ego aside and really ask ourselves, wait a minute, these motherfuckers, we live on a melanated planet. Plants, animals, minerals, humans, the original humans. Yes, the melanated human. Thai spiritual himself keeps mentioning it. The melanated man and woman are the Afro-melanated man and woman because of our hair, which we are the only people with hair that stands up. So yeah, really ask yourself, where the fuck do all these other humanoids come from? Stories for other days. But yeah. So people really gotta ask themselves, wait, especially these so-called white people, do they even come from this world? How is it that you live on a world where basically everything is melanated, has some form of melanin in order to serve as that natural sunscreen as we already spoke about? But you motherfuckers, just 5 minutes without sunblock, and you motherfuckers are literally cooking up in that sun, which is the main power source in this galaxy that we live in, or at the very least, this solar system consisting of all the other planets and all that good stuff. Dr. Bass, as I pass it back on to you, right? These are alarming questions that we gotta ask ourselves. Where the hell do these other people come from? Like for real, bro. It was only us for millions of cycles, and then bam, one day these motherfuckers just randomly show up out of nowhere. Like, I pass it back on to you, bro, because these are questions people are not asking themselves.
Yeah, at this point they must have came out of the metaverse or something because at this point they just came out of nowhere. You feel me? What I'm saying? Like, for
Where the fuck
real.
do they come from? Where do these other people come from? And I ain't disrespecting nobody, but I'm asking questions based off of simple logic. Where do y'all come from?
Yeah, at this point we can all see like this is just like a video game. It's just like a movie because like movie logic doesn't even make sense. Like just look at Fast and Furious, how they, I mean, Vin Diesel can just step on the ground and the whole ground can just break and shake and whatnot. I guess you know, you know what I'm saying. So at
Bro,
this
I
point,
want to know how a movie series that was about illegal racing and whatnot turned into some kind of James Bond type of what the I'm like, wow, wow, these motherfuckers, they really running out of ideas with that franchise. The fact that it's even a franchise is the biggest joke. That's the joke of the day. Fast and Furious. Before it used to be just simple movies based off of illegal, I guess, drug trafficking and whatnot. And street racing, illegal street racing for sure. Now it turned into some kind of James Bond spy superhero type of shit. Like, what the fuck, man?
yeah, at this point, like when they signed that 10 movie deal, they didn't realize, oh wait, we gotta create a new story every movie. So in the beginning it was cool, it's all fine, but now at near the end it was like, okay, we gotta just make up anything at this.
Oh man, bro, these people are just, yeah, it really also goes to show Hollywood, which was like literally the pinnacle of movies and shaping up people's perspectives on certain people, cultures, and whatnot all over the world. That bitch is literally losing steam. It's losing steam, and we should really rejoice because it really doesn't matter all of the subliminal conditioning that they try to impose upon us, always giving melanated people a particular stereotype in these movies, like Chris Rock always playing these loud, rambunctious, obnoxious characters. Ice Cube, his characters always having like that mean screw face and all that kind of stuff. Like rarely do you, like what Brother Panic said, imagine Cat Williams. Cat Williams, for as intelligent and talented as we know that brother is, try to picture him in a romantic role. Yeah, that's a weird picture, isn't it? It's a weird picture, isn't it? But guess what? That's because the studios always make sure to stereotype these actors within particular roles. Because think about it, even some of these other so-called white actors, they fear taking certain roles so that they would forever be stereotyped when it comes to doing future movies and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and another thing I notice about these movies, right, Dr. Bass? You probably watch a good bit of movies with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. Okay, they're very talented actors. Give credit where credit is due. You know, I hate on nobody. So yeah, but I find it to be very interesting. A nigga like Wesley Snipes, they would always put him in the role of a melanated man who's getting into some how you say biracial relationship, like an interracial relationship. But when it comes to Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt, I have yet to this very day, I have yet to see any one of those two gentlemen act. I mean, play have some kind of a interracial relationship in their movies. Like, you see these fucking images, right? And shout out to Brother Panic. Big shout out to that brother for always uh giving us the science on how the mind works and whatnot. The subconscious mind, which is the lower part of the mind, only deals with images. Fuck words. The subconscious mind does not even know what words are. Give, like, flash a particular image in the subconscious mind, and you keep showing the same image over and over and over, and that's all that the subconscious mind will recognize as reality. So you always put the melanated man and woman in a victimized role in these fucking movies. It literally damages the psyche of melanated people who go and watch these movies. Like Bobby Hemmett said, he remembered a older sister, like an elder, like she was up there in years. I think it was one of those Bruce Lee movies at the time when they went to watch it in theaters. The sister literally said in the theater, bro, and it's so fucking shameful. Oh Lord, please don't kill the man, the only melanated character. And guess what? His his character on the poster was literally fucking they're just there dangling dead at the hands of the villain who did kill him in the movie as well. But I mean to say, these melanated actors, they should know better in taking these bullshit roles. They should be like, nah, you motherfuckers, like, nah. This shit seriously has to stop. And the way Hollywood is losing steam, like I said, bro, it all has to come to an end. Because really, us melanated people, of course, we want to see movies where we're in the lead. We want to see movies where we're in the in a leading role, and that we are versatile. And I mean, guess what? That's how we've been in ancient Egypt, in in the ancient Americas, North and South America. Y'all, brethren, y'all had such a very intricate, deep and beautiful spirituality that's really not different from Egypt. And even when we were in India and Japan and China and all throughout Asia, we could literally look back in mythology and see just how great we were, because every mythology is literally based off of the melanated man and woman. Like, we were everywhere. Like, we are literally the oldest humans, so to speak, in this freaking world. And it makes sense because the sun being the main power source in this world, you have to have the natural sunscreen and the mechanisms and the tools and the substance within your being, your physical being, in order to adapt in any environment and situation you find yourself in. But here you have these motherfuckers with barely any melanin in their skin, just 5 minutes without any fucking sunscreen, and they're fucking red and boiling, and later on they suffer from fucking melanoma, skin cancer, and all that type of shit. Nah, where the hell do you motherfuckers come from? But once again, bro, the subconscious mind, the lower part of the mind, only recognizes images, which is exactly why, especially when it comes to children, and even when it comes to reprogramming yourself, you literally have to reprogram yourself with that good old ancient self-empowering spiritual knowledge that the ancestors left behind for us, bro. Because yeah, I know I went pretty deep right there, bro, but hey, I pass it back on to you because, bro, this is shit that we got to be happy. Hollywood, which again is a major factor in the system being the way it was for so long. Nah, fuck that bitch. Made that bitch literally fall, collapse, and don't even get me started about the churches and the governments and the schools and all that stupid shit. All these pillars have to fucking fall, bro, because yeah, this system, it was never conducive for us. It was never conducive for us. And read Francis Cresswell saying, "May that sister rise and be in a much better place. She already explained in her book, The ISIS Papers. Yeah, how the it's funny how the minority, aka so-called white people, have created a system where the majority, and especially us Afro melanated people, are the ones who have to be victim to it. Why? In America, for the last 140 years or some shit, the kind of shit I feel so sorry that y'all had to go through. But hey, much like what I was already taught, big fucking deal. You went through all of that. Okay, yeah, you went through all of that. But you got to fortify yourselves mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically and move forward, because guess what, coming to this realm, you already had a good idea of what it was that you'd be going through, because the gods, the gods, us great cosmic beings having these temporary human experiences, had to go through all this pain in order for us to shine even brighter than we already did before coming here. Dr. Bass, I know that was a deep one, and yeah, I pass it back on to you, my brother.
Yeah, at this point, like all the pillars and like whatever they created will collapse with the system. So anything that they try to create, even though they steal all of our ideas, nothing is original, but anything that they did create will collapse with the system. And it's all about like self-empowering yourself because at this point you have to be in this season, you have to be your biggest cheerleader and you have to be really confident and have like that self-belief in yourself because a lot of people are agents and a lot of people try to like bring down your energy and everything like that because they're energy vampires and at this point the sun is getting hotter and they're losing energy, so guess what, they need to steal the light of these light vocals and light beings and all that stuff. And then like with Hollywood and they're just really damaging the society of melanated people because like for example, just look at Black Love. It's so real, but it's mostly toxic because they look at these movies and TV shows and will hip hop and love and hip hop and all this other stuff and they just keep seeing like toxic black love, so that's why it's so like really well. And then even like Cat Williams exposed a lot of people in that interview back then, but like we all see like
Yeah,
what's
I
really
didn't like not yeah, bro, not just to really ask you. I didn't get to watch the interview, but a lot of people were speaking about it. What it was that that cat himself was like, if you could just give me a basic summary as well as for the people who are watching this video, this live, if you could just give a basic summary on how cat exposed them and how it's literally all part of this melanated conscious spiritual awakening that we are thankfully witnessing right now in this very age that we're transitioning into.
Oh yeah, so he was pretty much coming after like different like comedians and saying like, oh, how like a lot of people are just like industry plants and they just were placed in certain positions because they are just following the system and following the Hollywood standards and everything like that. But you have like people who are really exposing different things and then they get like, we'll say like breadcrumbs or just people try to expose them because they're going against the grain and everything like that. So they were just he was just mostly talking about like how like different stories or different narratives that these actors or other comedians are portraying how they're really false and just pure like illusions and everything like that. So it's like kind of in a way what he was talking about.
Uh oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, big shout out to Cat Williams for literally having the guts to come out and say something, because yeah, with a lot of these comedians, and especially how with a lot of these melanated comedians, they want to be putting down their own people instead of literally saying something, speaking against the system. It's weird how a so-called white man like the great George Carlin, because George Carlin, yeah, he was one of those individuals, to hell with what anybody gotta say, he used comedy as a form to literally spit the truth. The fact that he would say things like, it's a big club and you're not part of it, and that's why they call it the American dream, because you have to be asleep to believe it. I mean, like, whoa. When I watched one of those yeah, one of those comedy, one of those stand-up sessions from George Carlin, a so-called white man, may he also be in a better place. I was like, wow. And a lot of these coon ass melanated individuals want to be putting down their people after 400 plus years of already being put down by these barbaric, savage ass motherfuckers, and on top of that, having to deal with a system within the last 100 years at least of having to literally like navigate and try to dodge everything that they throw your way just so that you could literally make things happen. Like, I'm telling you, like, these motherfuckers, these so-called Jews out here, these are the fake fucking Jews, because even their so-called Bible says about how the real Jews are the people who suffer and have to go through everything for the sake of yeah, literally receiving greater reward from the universe itself. Like, it can't be these fucking fake ass so-called white Jews. Nah, we know these motherfuckers are fake because they're the ones who literally run the fucking media, bro, because their Bible speaks about the real Jews having to suffer and whatnot, and it even mentions about the fake Jews and all that shit. I'm like, so these motherfuckers put this shit in this book, and we know that the Bible is a book that's completely distorted, and yeah, it's how can I say, they literally took it and just repurposed everything. They took out so much, and they literally added some nonsensical shit just so it could fit their agenda. But either way, there's literally still truths from our ancient spiritual systems and whatnot. So, like, I'm like, yo, these motherfuckers, I want to know, how is it that people don't see that these are the fake fucking Jews? I mean, either way, Brandon, you get what it is I'm saying, bro. But either way, shout out to Cat Williams for coming out and saying something. But we're literally in the age right now, bro, where the system is collapsing, and it's literally like being there in the kitchen. I don't know if you remember that meme with the dog where he's in the kitchen and the kitchen is literally ablaze and he's there saying everything is fine. No, motherfuckers, you're delusional. The kitchen is ready to burn down. Heck, the whole house looks like it's ready to freaking burn down. And you're saying everything is fine? Oh no, it's definitely getting better for us, but it's definitely collapsing for you, motherfuckers. And I would just love to witness a situation where, yeah, shit gets so bad that motherfuckers literally revert to complete savages. In that case, yo, be prepared, bro, because if it comes down to having to physically defend yourself, may you already be in the position to literally defend yourself, because you're not going out just wantonly, willingly killing motherfuckers for no reason. You know what I mean? But yeah, if it ever comes down to that, be ready, because, bro, I'm telling you, this system is collapsing and it's only a matter of time before everybody is exposed for who it is that they truly are. I pass it back on to you, bro.
Yeah, straight zombies at this point, you know what I'm saying? But like a lot of people are definitely all still like so delusional, just like how everyone is too emotional with everything and just don't really use their brains after all, because you see even on social media everyone is react so reactive and so sensitive. It's just so like, you know what I'm saying, want to use their emotions, I guess, against people, but don't really think about what they're really doing. So that's why a lot of people are getting exposed and a lot of people are getting so-called canceled, and so many people are having these beefs because they are so reactive against all this hate and everything like that. But as you continue to succeed and level up, of course, you're gonna have with all the goods, you're still gonna have all those like those negative entities and everything like that. Because like as you level up, there's a new level of like dark entities you have to deal with and everything like that. So it's all a balance. Just like how we were saying, like as you ascend, don't think it's gonna be all peace, love, and light, because at the end of the day, there's still like dark entities within each realm and everything like that. You still have to go through different stuff. So it's all about that stuff. And then with like gospel, it's really like ghost spell. It's like the Holy Ghost taking over their body. It's like literally a ghost taking over their body, but they don't believe in paranormal activity. But like that's besides the point. But like gospel music is like a wingworm in their mind, so that's why they keep singing the same songs and keep singing the same words within the songs for so long. It's like 5 to 7 minutes because we all know they want it to be stuck in your mind so you can that's the only thing that can you be thinking about. And then like for the sun, people hate it when it's too hot, but people hate it when it's too cold. So at this point, like you just gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, but
Mm-hmm.
for like winter at this point, winter is really not even a season. Like fall, like okay, the leaves change colors. It's a transition year. Or spring is spring equinox, and then summer is summer equinox. But for winter, it's really just non-existent. It's like they'll created. It's like how they created fake weather and this fake snow and all that. It's like fake winter at this point. And then it's like um, oh yeah, they just really want to just like finish off the story, but everyone wants to be at the end goal, but they don't appreciate and smell the flowers when they on the transition of getting there. So it's like a lot of people just want to always be at the end goal, but that transition between where you are and where you're gonna get to, that's gonna help you humble yourself, and that's well, you won't use your ego and be too big-headed. So, and you can use your integrity because you remember where you were, so you can relate to other people, so you can be generous and everything like that. But yeah, that's
Oh yeah, definitely, bro. Like, and yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it's winter solstice, summer solstice, spring equinox, and vernal equinox, which is the fall equinox. But if you really stop and think about it, if you were to divide as it is in 12 months, in Ethiopia, they got a 13th month that literally has like 5 extra days and whatnot. So consider that to be something like their natural leap year and whatnot. Shout out to the brethren in Ethiopia. But uh, if you were to divide it in 6 months, summer is literally just one long gradual transition, just like how winter itself is one long gradual transition. So like yeah, I will say personally, with the snow in and of itself is real, but there are certain times where, just like how they be creating certain earthquakes and whatnot, how they be forcing certain earthquakes with their harp, HARP, they do be creating fake snow. Like with when was it? It was last year or the year before in Texas, where that sudden freaking snow just came out of nowhere in freaking Texas, in the south of the U.S. Nah, that is some manufactured shit right there, and we know that for a fact, bro. I'm like, what, Texas? Because it doesn't even freaking snow in Florida. Look, you got Florida, Louisiana, Georgia, Texas, New Mexico, and all these southern states. You're telling me Texas got hit with a big fucking snowstorm? Well, why didn't the same thing happen in Georgia, Florida, and all the other states? Like, there you could see these months, because guess what? We were the ones, being the fathers and mothers of civilization, we were the ones who had weather manipulating technology. This is nothing new. As a matter of fact, it shouldn't even come as a surprise, because you could literally manipulate the weather. Because I remember an old cartoon, bro. What was it called? Little Bear? I'm talking about my young years, bro. They were literally showing the main characters doing a Native American ceremony so that they could manipulate the weather so it could fucking rain. How could I remember this from a cartoon years ago when I was a child, bro? Some of this stuff, and because my mind is, like how they say when you are reborn, especially when you discover spirituality, you have to become like a child, like you have to be somewhat impressionable. Like you should be able to welcome in new information even if you don't accept everything. I mean, that's fine. You don't have to accept everything, but be open to new information, because you could learn something from anyone. It could be the hobo down the street. It could be that crazy lady that you just ran across in in the street one day. It could literally be anybody, even a child, because I think it was in the Gnostic Gospel of Thomas, where Jesus said, "Verily I say unto you, when the elderly man will look for wisdom, he will even turn to the child who is only a few months old to learn wisdom." And you know, Jesus was always symbolic of a great master teacher. So if he had to say something like that in those scriptures, which the Catholic Church and all these other denominations don't even want to teach their assembly, their congregation of people, the fact that they never want to show them that, it really goes to show that this is some deep stuff that the Gnostics themselves were getting into. But suffice it to say, the fact that I could remember that one scene with these cartoon characters performing a Native American, I don't know which Native American nation it was. I don't know if it was the Hopi. I don't know if it was the Chickasaw. I don't know. Forgive me if I butcher the names. I can't remember if it's the Lightfoot. I can't remember if it's what the Salagi, the so-called Cherokee. But suffice it to say, bro, the fact that they hid it in plain sight in a cartoon, I was like, an old school cartoon too, back in the 90s. I was like, wow, you see, they were sharing the good stuff. They were sharing the good stuff, yet I never forgot it. I never freaking forgot it. But you also had shows like Dragon Tales, which my bloodkin sister, man, she used to love that fucking show. But guess what? Dragons and fairies and whatnot. You have several books and testimonies, and even Bobby Hemmett himself already mentioned several times throughout his lectures how fairies and dragons, and even Dr. Mumbi herself keep mentioning these great beings, how they exist. But you need to condition your mind. You need to discipline yourself to go into a higher frequency in order to witness the existence of these beings. But yeah, Dr. Bass, I pass it back on to you, and I'm like, some of these things that they be showing in these cartoons, TV shows, and movies. Oh, they definitely left an impression on me, because I'm like, yo, especially when you look back to the fact that you witnessed it, that you actually saw it and you remember it. I'm like, oh, so you can manipulate the weather and whatnot. But with winter and whatnot, it's really, when you go from fall to winter, it's a gradual transition. When you go from spring to summer, it's a gradual transition. But if you really look at it, it's just one long season, just over the span of 6 months each. You know what I mean? But hey, I pass it back on to you, Brandon. It's some stuff that people really gotta dig deep into, because with spirituality, the deeper you go into it, you'll realize that there's just so much that they purposefully try to hide from you. But guess what? They can't hide it forever, because hey, we're literally in the age of information now. Stuff is coming out. If you remain ignorant, that is totally your choice, straight up.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like at this point, it's like cartoons not aren't even the same anymore. It's like old cartoons are now like the new anime at this point. So like you see all these people talk about or are interested in anime and whatnot is because like they hold deeper knowledge if you really pay attention to the hidden signs and hidden messages and everything like that. But for like people, you just have to be open to new information, but a lot of people are just stuck in their own beliefs and stuck on whatever someone else told them. So, like, for example, if the news told them, oh, yeah, there's a tornado in Africa, who really knows if there's really a tornado in Africa? Because you're not experiencing it. So, at this point, a lot of people are adopting other people's narratives into their own reality. So whatever you focus on grows. So if you focus on other people's
Mhm.
narratives for other people's perspectives, now that's gonna enter in your reality because we are all power. We are all manifestos. We all manifest every single day through our dots and minds and everything like that. So if one is not careful, you can really bring in some BS into your reality that's not that you haven't even really welcomed in yet. But like God speaks to other people, so like, or even if the so even if it's like a random person on the street or a random person you just bump into, they can say something that you needed to heal. And in that moment, you see like, oh, okay, that's the universe talking to other people using that person as a vessel to tell me something. Or sometimes we do that for other people as well. So it's really all important just to be aware of what is and everything like that.
Hmm. Indeed, bro. Because all throughout their Bible, you see stuff. All throughout the Bible, you literally see that stuff about how their God always uses someone who isn't even in high positions in society, within these societal structures and whatnot, so that he could literally bring his message across and whatnot. But then again, if you're not aware of the fact that Gnostic the Old Testament God is literally the Gnostic demiurge, who's literally like the God responsible for the creation of the physical world and having to trap us in the physical world, and how Christ himself literally took the form of the serpent in the garden to Adam and Eve in order to liberate them, because people need to go in that part of Genesis, because right after Adam and Eve ate from the fruit, their eyes awakened and whatnot. And their God literally said, "Behold, man has become like us. Now, lest he put his hand forth and eat from the fruit again and surpass us, yes, and he shall become like us and even surpass us." That we're kicking him and his wife out of the garden. So, wait, motherfucker, you lied to me. So you told me if I ate from this fruit tree, I would die. Not only did I die, but I literally started to discover secrets of the universe. Heck, even Barbara G. Walker, shout out to her. She mentioned in her book, The Women's Encyclopedia of Myths and Secrets. Get that book. It's a really good book. A great encyclopedia. She goes into how certain scholars and researchers, but certain people agree that the sin that God was talking about was not disobedience, but sex in and of itself. I mean, think about it. You tasted the fruit. Think of Bobby Hemmett already got into how when you literally have that sexual intercourse with an individual, you momentarily, once you achieve that level of ecstasy and orgasm, you momentarily enter into the realm of the gods. What do you think is the number one thing that every society looks to control? Just like when you go in Peter Levenda's book, another good book, H.P. Lovecraft, and the Typhonian trilogy teachings or something like that. But it's a book from Peter Levenda, Levenda. Yeah, H.P. Lovecraft and Typhonian trilogies or something like that. He explains how the number one thing every society tries to control is sex, because within sex there is power. You can literally access higher planes and realms of existence. But of course, we already got into that, and honestly, there are a lot of brethren in within the spiritual community who so many good books and videos were written and made explaining this topic in greater detail. But yeah, bro, the first video we're gonna get into is ghost fiction. Yeah, about how, yeah, these religious people, because remember, the so-called white man with his natural leprosy of lacking melanin, he resembles a fucking ghost. I mean, you could imagine the first albino people when they came into existence due to their lack of melanin. You could imagine how the melanated people around them treated them like, yo, where is your melanin, man? How are you even gonna survive in that sun and whatnot? Like, I mean, it's a lot of deep history and whatnot that honestly we don't even have the time to go into right now. And you're welcome, more than welcome, to do your research. But suffice it to say, bro, it's a lot of good stuff. And yeah, take it away, Dr. Bass.
Oh, yeah, that's great information. Let me play it now.
The Illuminati works for itself. It has no concern for any particular race, creed, movement, or nationality. It has Anglo-Saxons, Teutons, Slavs, Latins, Mongolians, Eskimos, Semites, etc. They hold the belief that it is up to man to solve his own crisis without the help of God. This appears to be the Republican Party's point of view. There are 9 masters called the Round Table of the Nine. The Illuminati may be in control here on Earth, but they are mere pawns in the game for the Luciferians. Religions teach you how to think from their point of view. That's one of the Nubians' problems. We always had someone else's point of view. Once you begin to think with a liberated mind, free of beliefs and falsehood, no one will be able to feed you lies and garbage. You will have learned to question everything. Start taking control of your life and your surroundings. Be ever ready to question anybody about what they attempt to teach and preach to you. Do not be intimidated by any force or authority. Stand for what you think is right. Don't stand in the background. Be heard, be seen, be felt, be known, be one to be reckoned with, be one to be dealt with. Don't tolerate, don't settle, make things happen. Be the life and the light of your environment. These simple principles, if practiced, will change our people. It will change everything about our people, their lifestyle and their pursuit of happiness. Anything less is belittling. The news media spends so much time telling the world of its negativity, man begins to believe the world is negative. More things that are positive happen in your life than negative. If you allow the negative things to dominate your life becomes negative, and vice versa. Are you looking at life from the small end, or do you step back and get the full picture? The etymology of violence. Vile, loathsome, disgusting, unpleasant, objectionable. Lance, a king's thrusting weapon with a long wooden shaft and a sharp metal head. The lance was used during cavalry. They decided to call it vile lance, violence after the alterings of the king's lance. Deceivingly he extended his.
Simply press generate. That sounds really cool. Let's just.
What is that?
To
No.
be able to kill faster
That
and
was an
faster.
ad, bro?
And that was a vile thing to do.
Yeah, that was
Ever since the garden, Nakash, Whisperer, aka Satan, has been trying to make an evil duplicate of Codman, Adam, that would be subject to his command. That's why it's important to bury the placenta after the birth of an infant, to keep Satan from creating an evil duplicate with the exact same genes. Genesis 23:4. There is not a member of the animal kingdom, which uses milk as food after it has been weaned. It remains for man to develop such stupidity and to overlook the use of milk as the cause of so many of his ailments. Nature placed the necessary ingredients in the milk of each type of animal that was best suited for the growth of its young. Milk, it's on everybody's lips. The Encyclopedia of Nutritional Supplements has a chart with 20 foods containing more milligrams per serving than calcium. Most people were never told that 6 verses of the book of Jeremiah 4:23-28 was intentionally taken out of Genesis 1:1. I will now insert it back in its proper place. You be the judge, Genesis 1. During the procreation period of the planet Earth, these Elohim and Anunnaki reconstructed 2 places up there in the skies where there was water. Jeremiah 4:23. I saw the planet Earth, and lo, it was empty and desolate, and the heavenly skies, and they had no light. This verse was duplicated and used in Genesis 1:2. I saw the mountains, and they trembled, and all the hills moved lightly. I looked, and lo, there was no Adamite, earthling, and all the fowls of the heavenly skies were gone. I looked, and lo, the land of Codman, fruitful garden, was a wilderness, and all the cities of it were broken down at the presence of a Yahweh, and by his fierce anger. For thus has a Yahweh said, the whole planet Earth will be desolate, but I will not make a total end. For this reason will the planet Earth mourn, and the heavenly skies above be black, because I have spoken it. I have planned it and will not be sorry, neither will I turn back from this decision. Most of the so-called Europeans of today are not really Caucasians. They are mulattoes. The pure Caucasian stock are those people with blonde hair and blue eyes. If you were to snatch the hood off most KKK, you would not find blonde-haired, blue-eyed Aryans, nobles. You would find dark-haired, dark-eyed mulattoes who think that they are white. Most skinheads do not have blonde hair and blue eyes, nor did the German Chancellor Adolf Hitler. Unbeknown to them, they are a part of the Negroid race. They are the coloreds. Chupacabra was a beast that was very common during the era of the Taino Native Americans. It was raised, fattened, and then later eaten the same way the pig is prepared and eaten today. Based on ancient stories, it is described with a multicolored cloak or hair. One thing that has remained in the Puerto Rican culture even after the last Taino died and the culture disappeared was their religious ceremonies. In these ceremonies or festivals, they wore colorful beast-like masks with protrusions, which people believe looked very close to the chupacabras. These festivals, which is a historical tradition, takes place throughout Puerto Rican towns and cities annually. The Most High, Allah to the Muslims, Yahweh to the Hebrews, or God/Christ/ the host to the Christians did not create the computer. He did not gift it with the senses that gives it a direct line to them. The computer does not have an ethereal umbilical cord to the Most High. It is a conglomeration of switches, keys, units, circuits, cold metal, and serpentine wires that when operational, surges with electricity to becomes its life force. It has no spiritual heart with which to feel, only a central processing unit. It has no spiritual sense with which to perceive the Creator in all his glorious splendor, only a transistor, camera, circuits, and sensors. It has no seats, chakras or lights for seeing, hearing, and feeling the messages sent by the Most High. The computer, like its master, the Luciferian, has no soul, so it cannot function on the spiritual plane. Try to open your heart before you open your mouth. Van York fascinated various Native American Indian tribes that the Lewis and Clark expedition members encountered. The chief of a Mandan tribe was so astonished by York's complexion, he tried to rub off his darkness thinking it was charcoal. It was a custom amongst the Indian tribes for the warriors to cover their bodies with charcoal in preparation for their return from battle. It signified them as the victorious warriors and denoted their bravery and fearlessness. They felt York was the strongest of the people he traveled with. Who are the biggest drug pushers in the USA? The Drug Enforcement Agency, DEA. The name itself is a confession. They are here to enforce drugs. They control how to get them, where they come from, and how they are distributed. This information, of course, is brought to you, the public, by way of the media. So now, children of all ages know exactly where to go and how they can get them. The Superman story. As the newest member of the House of El, Superman was born into a family with a centuries-long heritage of achievement in the fields of science, statesmanship, and exploration. Superman, birth name Kal-El, is the son of Jor-El, and nephew of Zor-El. There are numerous other El names in their family. This story is obviously an attempt to demelanize our ancestors, many of whom are scientists, leaders, and explorers that recognize the source, El, and give thanks and praise to Elion El, the Most High, the highest. The Egyptian Ankh was altered to become the Tau Crucix, then it became the cross of Christianity. Now, they put the halo over the head of the crucified person, which is the top of the Ankh, the original cross. It is better to be silent than to tell a truth that will cause pain or that springs from a wrong motive. A truthful person has power, for what he or she says comes to pass and his or her words becomes law. Cleanliness also extends to the mind. Only when the mind is purified of all things can it be a pure mirror for clear reflections. Laughter comes from stimulation, but a smile comes from inner peacefulness, satisfied with itself. The mind needs nothing else for its contentment, which grows in proportion to awareness of the inner self. External objects should not affect the mind. They may be possessed, but with detachment. Do not let them possess the mind. Austerity means curtailing the insatiable demands of the senses. To reduce the outflow waste of mental energies, the senses must be subjugated. 1/4 of one's energy is diverted to the digestion of food, which is often eaten for the pleasure of the taste buds rather than for sustenance. Additional mental and physical energy is squandered in useless idle talking. Learn control of the tongue by observing silence for an hour or two a day. Our senses have been habitually overfed and geared to gluttony. One should examine all worldly habits and curtail them sharply. The compass and square is one of the many symbols in Freemasonry. None are more important than the compass and the square. Since the 18th century, this has been accepted as the Freemason emblem. Sometimes you may see it with a letter G in the middle. To many American Freemasons, the emblem is not complete without this letter. This is not so in other countries. In other languages, God does not start with the letter G, neither does geometry. April is named after the Latin word abrio, meaning open up, because it is the month when plants spring forth life after the winter. April was once called Easter month, in connection with the holiday Easter. The Christian concept of a trinity comes from the three positions of the sun, in the Egyptian trinity: Autumn Re, morning; Atun Re, noon; Amun Re, evening. But the divine, Egyptian, family incarnate is a quantity. Organic foods are grown in laboratories instead of from the earth, and they are said to not be sprayed with pesticides and fertilizers. Even still, organic foods are not good for you because they are not grown naturally, and organic foods can be infected with bacteria. This information has been confirmed by Stephen Harper, a food scientist and director of research and development for Cascadian Farms, an organic food distributor. He stated in Newsweek magazine, "There really isn't any difference between organic and non-organic as far as the risks for, say, Cyclospora or E. coli. We have a lot of the same handling conditions, a lot of the same workers. We process in many of the same plants. Therefore, this just defeats the purpose of so-called organic health food. Grow it yourself without harmful pesticides, or get to know your local cultivators and their practices. Cowboy is the combination of the words boy, which was a derogatory term used against Negro men, and cow, which was used because the Negro man drove the white man's cattle across Indian land because they could not do so without getting scalped. A natural linguist of native languages and a successful trader for supplies and other provisions. York was not just a slave or servant of the Clark family, as their story claims. If York was really a slave from birth, how did he know the language of the Shoshones and many other Indian dialects? He was a free man in the company of his father, Yusuf ben Ali aka Old York. His father, a Malian Moor, navigator and translator, knew several languages such as Arabic, French and Indian dialects from whom Ben learned. Who was Percy Levon Julian? Dr. Percy Levon Julian's 1899 to 1975 discovery saved thousands of people from blindness. He is responsible for the creation of cortisone, a sterol derivative. While Europe was using animal bile to extract sterol, Dr. Julian used soybean. However, many scientists were never able to see beyond the fact that he was a Moor, a black man. His medical and scientific achievements were responsible for reducing the suffering of millions of people, including some who tried to keep him from accomplishing anything at all. He was one of the greatest chemists of our time. February. It is named after Februz, the god of purification who dwells in the underworld. March was the beginning of the year. When the Romans added February, it was to be the last month. Thus, it was named after the Latin word februm, which means making clean. The month of February was a time of religious purification for the coming year. The Feast of Purification celebrated by the Sabaeans was held on February 15th. There are some cows that are bred, that never take a step forward in their whole life. They are raised in cube areas no larger than their bodies, just waiting to be slaughtered. This is cruel treatment. These conditions are subjected to many of the animals enjoyed on your kitchen tables. At least if you plan to enjoy food, investigate. Do you know what veal is? It is an unborn calf, a fetus taken out of a mother, as if animals have no feelings except for the dog, known as man's best friend. Poverty Point in northeast Louisiana, which archaeologists consider to be one of the most impressive and puzzling settlements, that displays the transition from archaic culture to an era known as the Woodland Period. It was inhabited between 1500 to 1000 BC, and several thousand people are estimated to have lived there. It was there that hunting, fishing and gathering people built 5 or more earthen mounds, 2 of which are considered by archaeologists to be massive bird effigies. Bird effigies appear all over the United States. One of the effigy mounds is our own, Eagle Rock Mound, in Georgia. This is because we, Moors, New Buns, were known as the bird people. Give more than advice, help. You would have never thought that a breeze or creaky building, or shadow or reflection was a spirit or a ghost if it were not placed in your mind from the media, because 99% of the population has never seen one. You would have naturally thought it was the wind blowing a door, or the building shifting, or fog resulting from warm moist air over the cold ground. There are no facts showing someone came back from the dead. Therefore, if you really want to know where ghosts came from, ghosts were created in Hollywood for the movies. Since then, how many nightmares have you had? And how many ghosts and demons have you seen? Another reason for this fallacy comes from people who are afraid to die. They are the ones who really created the ghosts. This gives them something to hold on to. It also gives them a way to think they will be able to come back to the physical world because they refuse to let go and move on. Women are constantly being exploited in music videos, which are nothing more than 3 to 5 minute pornography movies. There should be a warning at the beginning, middle and end of each video saying, "Warning. Sex can kill you through the contraction of AIDS and the other countless amount of sexually transmitted diseases." Moreover, the majority of music videos that are shown today depict a young couple who appear to be in love, then, within the next 2 minutes of the video, they are in bed. Nowhere within that 3 to 5 minute time lapse does the girl tell the guy, or vice versa, "Let's go to the clinic and get checked out first." Who is Sacagawea? Sacagawea, who was a Shoshone woman, is on the silver dollar released in the year 2000 AD. It's a historical collector's item. It is impossible to speak of Sacagawea and not mention the Lewis and Clark expedition, in which both Ben York, great-great-grandfather of Malachi Z. York, and Sacagawea participated in as valued traders and translators.
Yeah, Doctor. Bad. You stop it right there, bro. And by the way, if you could just show people the name of the YouTube channel, bro,
Yeah. NWPU. They also have a second channel. They also have a second channel by the name of, well, the same name, but Nuwapu Archives. Yeah, they sometimes post videos there as well, but this is the main channel, Nuwapu. This is the main channel where they frequently, yeah, post videos and whatnot. Like, you don't have to agree with everything, but you gotta agree. It's a gold mine of information and facts within it, bro.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like with some of the things that they were saying, like question everything, stand on business. We can't trust anything that they say. Thoughts become reality. The new year is really in March, and then everything they made is through movies. So it's like some good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, some good stuff, bro. I'm telling you, some really freaking good stuff. Like, people, even you, whenever you got the time, feel free to check out their videos because it's some really good stuff they have there. Again, you don't have to agree with everything. Like, I don't have to agree with everything you say. You don't have to agree with everything I say, but that's okay because even the law of polarity shows that within every truth there is a lie, and within every lie there is a truth. And rhythm literally compensates that. So, like, yeah, instead of reading from one book, such as the Bible, for example, also read from the Quran, read from the Jewish Torah, read from whatever scriptures that they have within Hinduism, within Buddhism, and any other religion, because every religion either lacks or contains something that, okay, one religion may have something within their script that another religion does not have, and so on and so forth. Like, some deep stuff, bro, some really good stuff. So, like, yeah, share with the people, what is it that yeah, what is it that they probably need to consider regarding what they just watched, bro.
Yeah, I would say you can't trust only one source and or like one truth from one person. You just have to continue doing your research and gather up good information from multiple sources and multiple people who have like who kind of like it's like don't take criticism from someone who hasn't experienced what you're experiencing. It's like only take criticism from people who are successful and who some sort of way walked in the same like same like steps as you or something like that. But it was something like that. But yeah, that's all.
Yeah, some good stuff, bro. But either way, you should see a video there with Sister Myra Ross on it. Yeah, something along the lines of the best rituals. Yeah, we're gonna go on that one because that's another thing that people need to be aware of. Because big shout out to Bobby Hemmett. Think about it. Every ritual that religious people come up with is literally a ritual that was created by some individual hundreds of years ago at least. So that individual had to create the ritual based off of what they think would work out. You know what I mean? So essentially, big shout out to Bobby Hemmett and Sister Myra Ross makes it clear
Myra,
in the video. The best
Myra,
rituals
is there
are
any
the
ritual
ones
in
that
particular
you
that
create.
you want the family?
No,
Oh
no,
my
no. Go
bad.
ahead, bro. Go ahead.
I think it was
No,
just
no, no. It's okay,
started.
bro.
Uh,
No, it's okay. It's okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. Let the people listen to the good stuff, bro.
Maybe collective tonight in our own separate space to engage in, Sister Myra?
I'm gonna go back to my mentor, Bobby Hammett.
Mm-hmm.
He said the best rituals are the ones you create yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That is why that's why the 11-11.
Right, right.
Okay. Your personal mastery.
Mm-hmm.
Because each one of us has a unique contribution or purpose and
Mm-hmm.
contribution. Your spirit should have already identified to you where your magic, your powers, your most powerful, how you're most powerful. So everybody has a unique purpose. You know, it's like the wave at a football game. You know, everybody has to step up when it's their time to make the contribution to complete that circle or that spiral. So there's always, it's the one and all in the all in one. No one's reality is no more wrong or right than anyone else's. Everybody has their own unique purpose to bring to the table in contribution to the whole.
Right.
And I've done on your show a multitude of times the hand, the little finger, ring finger, middle finger, index, thumb, palm, back of the hands, fingernails. These are all unique components that comes together to make a hand that works in harmony for us to do what we need to do. Everybody has a unique purpose. No one reality is no more wrong or right than anyone else's.
Indeed.
We've all been instructed through our spirit, through many lifetimes, in the purpose we came here to master and make that contribution to. I'll give you some fundamentals. You always have to use a circle. You have to have a circle of protection. When you're ready to start your invocation, you're going to invoke the spirits of the universe to come. We rule the spirits, not the other way around.
Ooh, there you go. You can say that again. So we said
Yes,
we rule the spirits.
But you got to know that.
Yeah.
Else they'll run ripshod over you if you don't know your power. Watch the movie 13 Ghosts. It'll give you a hint of that. Okay? Spirit has to respond to written and spoken incantation.
Right. Facts.
So each one of us has already been trained by our spirit where our mastery is at. And each one of us has to make our contribution to that. I always say it's like the twinkling of a star. And you're only responsible for one twinkle, not the full twinkling. But the one twinkle is just as important as the full twinkling, because if you're not in position to make your contribution, when it's your time to shine, the star's not complete, it's not whole. If it's not whole, it's not real. Okay? So everybody has a unique purpose of mastery. They've been doing this through many lifetimes, guided by their spirit to master in the purpose. Whatever sun sign you came in this lifetime, is what you came in to expose in that mastery of what your contribution is to this holistic purpose being fulfilled.
Indeed.
So everybody has a unique purpose and contribution to the fulfillment of this. So use a circle for your invocation. The 4 elements, okay? That's how you activate the ether, which is going to be on your altar, which is going to be the candles for the fire, maybe some incense for the air, bowls of water for the water, and crystals or stones or plants for the earth. Okay, those should be the symbols of those 4 elements on your altar. You see, then trust what you feel. Once you do your circle, and let your spirit see. You got to get in partnership with your spirit. We keep forgetting we have a partner.
I got my circle behind me, Myron. I got my circle.
You always are symbolizing. I tell you, Brother Rich, you always bring a symbolism to the table here.
Oh yeah.
So everybody does have a unique purpose. These are some of the things. One of the things, okay, you create your circle and demonstrate it through the 4 elements. I usually put 4 candles. I'll put, like the east, we're dealing with the fire. The west, we're dealing with the air. The north, we're dealing with the water. And the south, we're dealing with the earth. So I will put the candles in those 4 directions to form my circle, you see.
Indeed.
And then, you evoke the spirits. And the thing is that your spirit, in other words, it'll take a life on its own at that point. You just have to stay true and trust to do what you feel. Sometimes I'll hop. Sometimes I'll go down to the floor. You do what you're inspired to do at that point.
Yes.
Okay.
Love it. I'm loving it.
Yeah. And then put it out there what it is. And I talk to each individual 4 members. and what they have to contribute. Like the air is righteousness, justice, you see, balance. The fire is passion, to protect, to defend. It's the warrior, it's the protector energy. We are the reason we're the gods is because we bring all those elements together. We're the vessel that can bring those four components together for wholeness. That's what God means, holistic. So we are the vessels that can bring those four components together. The water is the love, the compassion, but it's also what can I say? No compromise. Your mama don't play. She like Homie the Clown. You gotta, she said to me as her daughter, you will represent me as I would be represented. Woo. And that is no mealy mouth walking on eggshell type of bullshit. That's how she said it to me. Woo. Woo. I do not kowtow to ego. Okay? So that is mama's, your compassion for her family. That is who she's focused on, her ancient, universal, melanated family. Are you one of hers or not? You've been ordained by Big Mama. There's nothing to fear but if you fear anything more than her. Because she does not play, okay? And I had a debate on one of the comments the last time. Somebody was trying to tell me it's the father, okay? Well, no, the father is.
Oh. Yeah.
Father is the air element. He deals with compromise. And I got this from Bobby Hammett, as well. The father is the one who negotiates the air element. Let's come to an agreement. Let's, negotiate. Can't we all just get along? That's the air element. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. We need that half. Mama's just the opposite of that.
Right.
She ain't compromising.
Indeed.
If she senses that you're about to mess up her family, she will F you up first and ask questions later. That's Kali Ma. That's why Kali Ma is Cancer energy, the water. Right. The most ferocious and vicious mama. Okay? Father will negotiate, but that's his role. No problem. It's not about trying to debate who's better or who has this, or we all have individual qualities. And that's what you got to understand about these four aspects as to who to step up to for the different quality you're trying to activate, you see. Indeed. So the fire is your passion, your desire to protect and defend righteousness. As you look at Aries and Libra. Aries the warrior, Libra the peacemaker. Separate them. Aries kicking butt all over town. Libra with no backbone. Put them together. A warrior for justice, taking a stand for peace, taking a stand for righteousness. When you balance those two, you see. So, and then the earth is value, character, integrity, internal. So it starts from within, your own self-worth. That is what they've undermined in this illusionary conscious realm, is your own self-value and self-worth from within. Right. Earth and water are internal. Water is your emotional happiness. Your earth is your security. Those are internal. Those are too big of a burden to put on anyone's shoulders outside of you. That's why I say spirit moves inside out. When you're secure, the earth, and the value, earth, of what you feel, the water, how mama speaks to you internal through the water from your ancient memory, from your ancestral memory, from your ancestral powers. Mama is the one who exposes from the internal who you are from a universal perspective and connects you to your ancestral powers. So when you're secure as to how mama speaks to you through how you feel from your ancient memory, the security, the earth, is how you send that energy vibration out external. And it will reflect itself as air and fire or spiritual power. So to the magnitude of your security, of trusting what you feel, like I read in the beginning, is how you open up that magic, how you send that vibration out external, and it will reflect as air and fire, your spiritual power. That's why you are the one who dictates who you are.
Well. I mean, it was short but sweet and to the point, Dr. Bass. It really is. It really is. Like with the elements and how you actually got to combine the zodiac energies. I mean, it all makes sense. It all just makes sense. Like lay it out to people in a basic summary, bro.
Oh yeah, we're definitely all the true benders. Well, we all have with our birth charts and within our astrology charts, like we do have all the kind of like the symbols and all the elements within ourselves. So once we tap into all of our elements, we got the true benders. It's not like we just like a AO sign or we just a file song and whatnot. We can tap into each element and use the powers
Just like
from within.
Avatar. Just like the Avatar. Anyway, the next video, bro, is the one with I gotta go look back and check. I gotta look back and check. The next video is Minister Jew, the holy marriage of the conscious husband and the subconscious wife. Yeah, this brother's literally just spitting facts on how you got to stuff, bro.
Holy matrimony. Because it's a
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
part thing going on here, ladies and gentlemen. Two parts. And here's the mystical union of the conscious and the subconscious mind. When you go to sleep, there's something happening between these two faculties of mind. It is the union of the masculine or the conscious mind and the feminine subconscious mind. Therefore, and listen, therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. And then Paul goes on to say, this is a great mystery. Now listen carefully. This is a great mystery, but I speak concerning Christ and the church. So a lot of people think all this time, you probably been thinking it's about a man and a woman getting married and doing the woo-wop the bam down the aisle. No, Paul said, no, this is a great mystery that I'm speaking of here, but I am speaking concerning Christ. So what are they saying? What are they trying to tell you? There's a union of sorts. See, when you wake up in the morning and you're going about your day and you walking around in that beta state all day, right? The conscious mind is at the forefront of your endeavors. It is the selective part of the mind. You can say, I want to have this, I want to have that, I like this, I like that, I observe this, I observe that, right? But then at nighttime, something happens. There's a deposit that has to be made. The conscious mind makes a deposit into the subconscious mind, and let's be specific, Jew, that good old hippocampus that becomes active when you're going to sleep. It becomes, the theta wave comes online as you're drifting off into your twilight sleep. It also is on when you're just waking up in the morning for the first 15 or 20 minutes, right? So when you practice these things, it's a feeling. I really can't, I tell this to my members all the time, especially in the morning. I can feel it really heavy in the morning, right? And so then it reminds me of the Old Testament when they say in a cloud descended upon Moses, right? You literally feel like you're asleep, but you're not asleep. You're like in between worlds per se. Okay? So And whatever you are depositing into the subconscious is always coming from the conscious mind. This is why you have to be careful, and scripture says, guard your gates. You have to be careful about what you are allowing into your senses. Because see, a lot of our dreams, people wonder, why the dreams just so willy-nilly and all over the place? I'm gonna tell you why. Because there's no conscious directive. You're just allowing all kind of programming to come in from all different facets of life, right? You got all these conscious dumps coming in. They just dump it. And then when you go to sleep at night, it's a must. You have to make the deposit. It's literally a transaction taking place. Then when you make that deposit, all of a sudden you're like, man, that dream was weird. I had this thing, this, all of these things. You're trying to make something of it. You think it might be something deep. No, it's all of these different facets that you've allowed to enter your gates that are now looking for an amalgamation of sorts to come together to try to produce something for you to make sense of everything that you just processed. But when you become intentional and you wake up the next morning, you start to see like, wait a minute. I know what I deposited last night. And now all of a sudden, people around me are reflecting exactly what I made in my deposit last night intentionally. But let me show you how scripture tells. Watch this romance. Watch this romance in the Songs of Solomon. Watch how they get down to explain this transaction, this passing over of the baton during sleep. Listen to this. She says, on my bed night after night, I sought him whom my soul loves. I sought him, but did not find him. I must arise now and go about the city. In the streets and in the squares, I must seek him whom my soul loves. I sought him, but did not find him. The watchman who makes the rounds in the city found me. And I said, have you seen him whom my soul loves? Scarcely had I left them when I found him whom my soul loves. I held on to him and would not let him go until I brought him to my mother's house and into the room of her who conceived me. This is a beautiful poem to explain the process. At night, as you lay on your bed, people, your lover, your mate, and listen, and everybody got these faculties. Both man and woman got conscious and subconscious mind. So as you are laying on your bed at night, guess who's coming to look for you? Guess who's getting up, looking and pacing down the streets, trying to see, where's my lover? Where have you been all day, my love? You've been out ripping and running the streets. What have you observed today? Come on into these chambers. Come on to your mama's house where the conception will take place. Huh? See, listen, people, listen. It's no different. It's just, listen, it's just like the sperm and the egg cell, people. The sperm cell got all the data packed, locked, and loaded. The egg cell is passive in her nature. She's waiting to be impressed upon. She's waiting to be impressed upon. But see, what does scripture tell us? And I like to use these vivid examples because it helps you identify, because we can see these things in the world. It's called the children that you have. It's called biology class. It's called sex ed. Huh? Now watch this now. This Romans 1:20. Because I want to show y'all, ain't no secrets out here. It says, for the visible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal Godhead and power. so that they are without excuse. So what is this verse trying to tell you? You want to know how the invisible mind of God works? You want to know the faculties of the subconscious mind? You want to know how to get down and busy with the technology that you've been built with? Look to nature. Look to the things that are clearly made visible. Because then you'll be able to see how these things work on these realms of invisibility or mind, so that you can replicate a result. Huh? Right? So there is a set of behavioral genes that are turned on while dreaming. Listen carefully. Behavioral genes. That's big. Changing who you are. So your behavior is who you are. So if we know that we can encode ourselves, if we know that this is an inside job, right? Then that means once we start to do this conscientiously, we will start to change and upregulate the proper genes, downregulate the proper genes, so that our behavior change, our perception changes, our habits change, the repetitious things that we do begin to change. And now you start to literally vibrate in the being that you say that you want to be. It doesn't happen any other way. You have to get down in the subconscious mind and hack that thing. And this ain't no one hitter quitter. It ain't, oh, I'm gonna do it tonight, and then I ain't gonna do it no more next week, and then I maybe pick. It don't work that way. Here's the kicker though. They are also turned on when we experience stress. So it's always
this is a metabolism killer, this is a metabolism killer, and this is a metabolism killer. Here.
It's okay, bro. You could stop it right there. You could stop it right there. Yeah, you could stop it right there, bro. But yeah, just go on the if you could just check out the YouTube channel so that people could literally check out the videos. Yeah, if you could just show the YouTube channel name so people could check out the videos. Black Magic 363. Yeah, so another good channel with the host, the brother, Rob, I think his name is. Either way, yeah, that brother, he gets some really good guests on his channel and whatnot, and that was a really good one. Like, it is so imperative for us to be conscious, especially when we're about our daily activities, whatever that may be on a regular basis, that we be conscious of what it is that we accept and definitely have to reject with our conscious mind, so that we don't sabotage the subconscious mind as we go to sleep. Because remember, we talked about already several times with one another, bro, how your energy, you should always learn to call back on your energy as you go to bed, or before you go to sleep, and that you also give individuals their energy back, because remember, it's always a mutual exchange. So you should always learn to call back for your energy as well as give people back their energy, because what's yours is yours, and what's theirs is theirs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, because it's like we have to be conscious of what we consume, what we adopt into our systems, and reject anything that no longer serves us or doesn't like portray anything into our house selves. So at this point, we just gotta be aware of what we consume.
Oh yeah, and you notice how the brother was always, how he was literally quoting directly from the Bible, bro. You see, this is exactly why, brethren, shout out to Sister Yafa Bay, why religion in and of itself is a problem, because these pastors and preachers don't care about the people who who they preach their sermons to. They only care about getting that sweet dollar bill in their bread baskets or whatever they freaking call their offering baskets and that kind of stuff to go directly into their pockets to pay for their Lamborghini and their Ferrari and their whatever freaking vehicle that they are interested in. Like the Bible in and of itself is not the issue, because you, especially when you expand your mind through spirituality, you expand your perspective, you could literally get into the Bible and find a bunch of esoteric stuff in it. But it's the freaking pastors, these pimp pastors and preachers, bro. Like, either way, you just give the people a summary of what it is that, was shared, bro.
Yeah, at this point, they don't care about like people. They just care about the bills and whatnot. But yeah, like we just have to be aware of what we consume, and because that can we can adopt different things that they do. Or like say if someone watches like a show and they do like or think a certain way or whatnot, then all of a sudden you kind of think in the same way, or you adopt what that person is going through and everything like that. So we just have to be conscious and reject anything that doesn't serve us, but like just be aware of what we accept as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, indeed, my brother. Couldn't have worded it better than you, Brandon. The next video, bro, is from Rod Hayes. Yeah, that brother. Yeah, Rod Hayes. Yeah, so you could just go straight on that one and yeah, allow the people to become more aware so that they could do their research, because the number one thing that you and I, whenever we come together, bro, is we always encourage people to literally do their own research immediately after the information that we share with them, because it's not our duty to run behind you like these individuals in different positions in society, be it government, education, entertainment, family, and all that stuff. They're just running behind you like you're some freaking toddler or someone along those lines. Nah, we share the information with you. After that, it's up to you to do your due diligence to research for yourself all the important facts and information and wisdom and knowledge that they've been purposefully hiding from you for so long. So, yeah, that's just what it is, Brandon.
Yeah.
About ghosts, but in terms of souls that don't have a body, but they seem to be stuck down here, what happens with ghosts in this 3D realm, Rod?
Ain't nobody stuck. That's the first thing.
Okay.
But you got to remember, there's multiple timelines next to each other. Go watch this series called Sliders that came on Sci-Fi, and it'll help you to understand what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Your light spectrum is so narrow, it could be a person that vibrate on the light spectrum outside of your field of vision that you won't be able to see them.
And they
But
could
a
be right there.
trained psychic will sense them,
Right.
right? And then you have untrained psychics who might even be able to see them. And when they see them, they look like an apparition. They call them a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're just outside of your field of perception. They also did an episode on the X-Files about people you can only see in your peripheral. It's the same thing, because your peripheral is black and white. It don't even see in the color context. But when you look in direct, all of the color from direct vision gives you the illusion that your peripheral is seeing color as well. So it
Rod,
fills in the blank spots.
since our light spectrum is so narrow in this realm, when we inhabit the body, the people who we call ghosts, is their light spectrum just as narrow, or are they seeing us and they're seeing shit that we're not seeing?
Could be either of the two. Okay, so we live in what's called the realm of infinite probability.
Right.
If you can think it in your mind, it's true.
Okay.
No matter how fairy tale like it sounds, if you can form it into thought because of infinite possibility, in one of the timelines is real, but just not this one, right? So when you go to Operation Looking Glass, all things converge on the awakening or the mass awakening. How do you awaken the masses? You don't. You awaken the 5% pro-righteous teachers. That's how the masses awaken on the 100 monkey effect. Because as soon as enough pro-righteous teachers realize what's being taught and they start aligning, the natural effect is when the alphas walk in the room, everybody turn and look. Right? They want to see what the alpha gonna do. If a beta walk in the room, everybody look like they did when the alpha walked in the room. And how do you know the difference? Right? I used to tell people a long time ago, when leadership is needed, anybody can fill the part as long as they look like the position. Right? That's how they trick us. That's called uniform in the codes. The uniform is the deception. So the right people, the ones been right the whole time, is the ones we've been calling the criminals, because the system made laws to criminalize culture. And that's how they trap all us in their system. We can't see it, right? Because we not understanding the code, the color code. So they use the color code to turn us against each other with flag colors, what we call, I'm holding down my set, you holding down your set, my set blue, your set red, your set black and gold, your set purple, right? So we all holding down our set with a flag. We didn't have flag laws over here. The law of flag came from Europe. It came from maritime jurisdiction, right? But now we go from flags and colors being united to being united in the colors of the flag. It's a whole kind game being ran under the flag, the red, white, and blue. And it's based on the colors. Who gave us the keys to the colors? Frances Wellesley. Remember ISIS papers, keys to the colors? She was telling you the whole time that black and white ain't got nothing to do with skin color, they positions on the chessboard. And she was telling you the whole time that in bowling, 3 strikes is a turkey. That means they got 3 chiefs in the land. Right? We didn't understand the tribal lingo. There's the carryover from the descriptive analysis of what's being said. Right? So the original redneck was a Brit, but the original Brit was melanated. And we thought that the Brits was the Saxons, but it tells you clear that no Anglo-Saxon or Caucasian is a free white person in law. It tells you that clearly in the Black's Law Dictionary. Well, then who in the hell is? Because we thought they was white. They ain't white. In law, they blacken to become pale. It's all trickery. It's all trickery. The keys to the colors is to know that no colors matter. Nature knows no color line, J.A. Rogers. Right? That means that y'all judging somebody based on something that's not a part of the natural makeup. What nature judge? Right? God don't like what? Ugly. Nature judges beauty and pageantry. That's the way of the earth. How do you usurp that? You turn it from creative potentialities to vulgar expressions, right? It's all trickery. It go back to ancient Babylon sex magic, right? The simulated sex act spiritually took place, but physically, it's an energy exchange. Spiritually, it took place. And that simulated sex act plays out in the mind of the players who are in charge of the game. And that's why we keep telling y'all it's all fuckery. That's why Bobby Hemming kept saying it's fuckery. Right? It's bullshit. It's deception. It's trickery. Right? So they tell us in all of these different fairy tale stories, your Odin stories, your Thor stories, but they tell us don't pay that.
That's why, despite the massive criminality and corruption of the Clintons, the Bidens, the Obamas, and all the rest,
pay that no attention. That's mythology. We want you to study history. And then they give us a whole book of lies and say this your history. See the trick?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So they took you from the mystery system, which was my story, to the history system, which was his story, in order to delude and deceive the minds. But when the people realize what's being done, they can't. All of it stopped working. Building an armor, an impenetrable armor, that the 85% starts to wake up. All they got to do is look, and then the 5% make a move. But the 5% can't make the move until the 85% on board.
Rod Hayes, when I was doing research on the whole soul trap thing, and I was reading up on these entities from the fourth dimension, harvesting the soul's energy in this realm, I came across a lot of David Icke work. I'm curious, what's your thoughts on we're talking about teachers and people bringing information to the masses. What's your thoughts on the work David Icke has brought to the world? Because a lot of people, some people say he's an agent. Some of his information I vibe with. I'm curious as to what's your thoughts on David Icke and the whole reptilian archon and all that other stuff.
There was a reptilian archon that lived under the Vatican that gave the Pope and the Crown of England their orders. That's no longer the case.
Okay.
All right. That bitch been dead since 2020. There was underling archons that carried the message to other countries that would put on human skin masks.
So that was facts.
That was true. Also, Credo Mutwa, the Zulu Sanusi, verified the reptilian agenda. But those people were what you call interdimensional beings. They was brought into the earth through a stargate. They was brought in by the one we call Yahweh in the Bible and Zeus in mythology. We call him Enlil in the ancient tablets.
So Enlil brought in the reptiles.
He conjured them up. That's his other family.
That's his other family.
They mirror images of the earth. Right. This is why they put the mirror verse in the Doctor Strange movie. Right. Because once you trap them in the mirror, they can't get out. So they use mirror magic against the Earth Sisters. And they broke the mirror on the crossroads. That's since been reversed. Right? And so once the mirror magic has been reversed, now we got to work on clearing up the lines in the mirror so that all of the sisters can see one mother when they look in the mirror. Right? But you still got the cracks that's working on being cleared up.
Right.
Right? And while the mirror got cracks in it, it becomes a prism. Right? So it looked like you're looking through 1,000 mirrors and seeing 1,000 reflections, but it's when they all come together, they make one reflection, and we call that reflection the Great Mother, as above, so below. Right. So the God man is the man who got enough self-confidence to tell you that the woman is prime creator.
Man, you really gotta appreciate that ending right there. But I mean, Rod Hayes, as always, gotta appreciate that, brother. And the whole thing with colors and with codes, and remember Dr. Phil Valentine, how we have to learn to decipher We have to learn to decipher what it is that these people are saying, because these people speak in code. These people are secret society members. These people, they always speak to one another in coded language. It is up to you to decipher what it is that's being said, because they never come straight forward with what it is that they're saying. But either way, Dr. Bass, just give the people, give the audience a summary of everything that was shared, because man, that was a gold mine.
Yeah, that was a good one. So like we just gotta like decode the messages because they even in movies we can see people talking in code or saying like, oh yeah, this if we say this word then we escape or anything like that. So they just be putting it in plain sight. So but they put it in a way that they know about it. So all we have to do is really decode the messages, and then like how they were saying, like how a lot of people just prejudge all those without knowing what they are, who they are, or where they came from, and then that could really backfire on the specific person who prejudged them. And I liked how they talk about male magic because people can really get trapped and stuck within meals and everything like that.
Oh yeah, the whole mirror magic thing, that was some deep stuff right there. That was some really deep stuff right there. Like the fact that these motherfuckers used mirror magic in order to yeah, confuse the sisters in particular, which, remember, big shout out to Dr. Mumbi and Foster eBay as well. This is a feminine realm. What happened was these degenerate, rogue, low life masculine entities came in and literally messed everything up, to the point where the sisters got very confused and suppressed in manifesting the full totality of their communion, their coming together, and their literally the whole 360 degrees of their full potential. But all of that is literally changing. And remember what Rod said pertaining to that bitch reptilian back in 2020? Is it a surprise that we went through that whole COVID-19 dog shit, bro? It makes you wonder what were these motherfuckers doing when everybody was so-called locked down in their homes? Hmm?
Yeah, we all know like what they were really doing behind closed doors with all that agenda and whatnot. But yeah, we see the truth in the lies.
Yeah, I mean, bro. Either way, the next video we are going on is Ra Un Fair Amen. And yeah, he gives good explanations on yoga, and yeah, he also taps into the working on our mind and how the subconscious mind itself is also a muscle and whatnot. But anyway, let the brother share it, and yeah, take it away, Brandon.
You go, this book called Laya Yoga, Laya Yoga.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a book that not too many people that are interested in meditation know about.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably can find it on Amazon for maybe $500-600.
Say
And
that
I
name one
bought
more time. Say that name one more time, my brother.
Laya, Laya Yoga.
Yoga. Yeah.
Yeah, you probably heard of Hatha Yoga and Raja Yoga. Okay, but not typically heard about Laya Yoga.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I forgot the author's name, but the book gives you all the 14 chakras. You can go and Google the 14 chakras. It's published. This is published information.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the chakras with their mantras and everything and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that we have 5 psychical chakras and 9 spiritual chakras.
Okay.
You see that? And it's published. It's not like I didn't make this up. This has been documented for thousands of years.
Right.
Part of the shamanic tradition.
Right.
The reason for this is that when the Aryan came into ancient India, ancient India was a matrilineal society, and God was a goddess in ancient India. So the patriarchal Aryans, they cannot vibe with that. So they changed the system and limited to the 5 lower psychical chakras, because the 5 lowest, when we talk about psychical powers, the ability for your life force, the Kundalini energy, to generate effects in miraculous effects from mind over matter effects in your life is controlled by the 5 lower chakras, which, the people who invented the so-called 7 chakra system told you that you will control, okay, the 5 psychical chakras with the Ajna chakra, which they incorrectly call the third eye, and the Sahasrara chakra. Nobody ever told you what the mantras of the Sahasrara chakras are. There are 50 mantras in the Sahasrara chakra, and nobody has written a book on how to use that.
Wow.
And the thing is when I wrote a book, Light on Kundalini Yoga years ago, okay, where I gave the explanation of all, of 9 of the 14 chakras. I didn't want to give the other 5 chakras. I wanted to put it in a separate book by itself, okay, because it's really a book on psychology.
Right.
Yes, and mental psychology and so on.
So, all right. So the Aryans invade India. They purposely left out certain chakras, dealing with the female aspect of man. What I want to ask you, I'm just because it's like, okay, why would they leave out those chakras? Is it a case of someone hating something because they don't have it? So what they don't have, nobody can have? Is this something that was exclusive to the people that were India in that time? We have invaders, they come through. They don't have access to these chakras, so they gonna hate on it because they don't have access to it. Is this why?
No, not really.
Why did
other
they leave
9,
these out?
the other 9 chakras require for you to observe very strict and stringent spiritual rules. The lower 5 chakras, which are the chakras that enables you to manifest mind over matter, does not require spirituality or morality. So it's easier for you to use the 5 lower chakra. You see that? The problem, with it is that, go on Google, go on Amazon, and see how many books, you can find that explains how to use the powers of the chakras, and there are hardly any books. You see that? Yet if you get my book, Light on Kundalini Yoga, I give you all the mantras of all the 9 spiritual chakras. You see that? And in my course that I'm giving to the world this year, I teach people how to use, the Guru chakra. You never heard of the Guru chakra, right?
No.
The word Guru is, spiritual teacher, sage, right? So there's a Guru. You have a chakra within you that once you open it up, you're able to get divine guidance intuitively. You see, connect with God's wisdom. Okay. One of the 5 lower chakras, one of the so-called 7 chakras, called the Vishuddha, purifies your lower chakra. You see that? It enables you to transcend, the control that pleasure exerts over you. You see that? Meaning that one of the biggest problems that people have today is that they're pleasure bound.
Yes.
They are enslaved to pleasure. They will not do something unless it is pleasurable, and they are addicted to a lot of dangerous and bad pleasures and things of that nature, And the Vishuddha, the word Shuddha, Shuddhi, means to purify. Like in maybe Shuddha Pranayama, when you do that, the alternate modes breathing to purify the energy channels. But you got to do it with the Vishuddha mantra. Because it's just not simply stop at one nose and breathe in the other. You can also, you have to also now empower the Vishuddha chakra to purify the energy channels and so on. So that's part of the seven, the so-called seven chakras. Why haven't they explained that? You see that?
No, definitely.
Not going to go through, and then one of the so-called seven chakras that controls people's life is called the Swadhisthana chakra, incorrectly called the sex chakra. Okay, and that's the chakra that that empowers your mind to manifest your desires and your life plans. So this is what I teach in this, course on the winter solstice, because come the New Year's, whether you call it December 25th or January 1st, when you start to make pledges for a better life, it's not going to happen through just you writing a piece of paper. I pledge to accomplish so, I pledge to change so and so in my life. You have to go through a deep dive into your soul, with meditations and words of power, mantras, because that's what your chakras are. That's what they decide.
4 out of 5 women.
My first encounter with consciousness from another world was when I met someone in 2010 whose most...
Yeah, you could stop it right there, bro. It's okay. People could literally take the time to finish off the video and continue to listen to it within their own time. It's fine. But yeah, with just a few minutes of getting into it, yeah, big shout out to that brother. He also has a whole book series by the name of the Medu Netter. So yeah, feel free to literally check it out. But yeah, please share, just summarize it for the people, bro. Let them know basically everything that he shared so far.
Oh yeah, for that one, it's really just talking about like the chakras and how it all kind of connect with everything. So like, if people didn't realize we have more than 7 chakras, even though like they mostly just talk about the 7 chakras, but we have definitely way more because we exist in all dimensions, realms, and astral planes.
Well,
So of course,
guess what, Dr. Bass? Guess what, bro? To add to what it is you're saying, big shout out to Dr. Layla Africa. You could literally check out his video on he's a an ascended brother. He's no longer in this world. Big shout out to him. He made a video what appears to be many years ago pertaining to fasting, about how fasting is good for the physical body because it helps you to be much lighter, and you definitely uh maintain a better health. You literally rejuvenate your health from sluggishness and all that crap. But it's very interesting that he mentioned in that video how so-called white people only have 2 chakras. Yikes. And everybody else, like the Indians, the Chinese, Japanese, these people, it's from them that the whole 7 chakra thing became popularized. But what about melanated people? Oh, he answered, we have up to what? 14 chakras. Base chakras. 14 base chakras. And big shout out to Ra Unnafera Men right here, where he mentioned about Laya Yoga. Please do your research and get the book on Laya Yoga. Melanated people, Afro melanated people have 14 chakras. 14 chakras. That just goes to show who it is that you're getting your information from, because you can't expect these other people to really give you anything based off of your best interest. They're always only going to look for things that are in their best interest. I mean, fuck, you've been in this realm longer than these motherfuckers, so why should they care about you? It's not their job to care about you. You should care about your own damn self. Just had to add that one there, bro, because it's stuff that melanated people especially need to get through their thick skulls.
yeah, like a lot of good information is out there. Like people just have to realize and just be open to new information at this point.
Anyway, bro, yeah, we're gonna look at one last video with Bobby Hemmett. The one, yeah, I can't remember. Check the last video that I shared with you. It's definitely a Bobby Hemmett video. And this one isn't long. Yeah, that one right there. That one right there.
Because if you're a jealous God, you in trouble. Now, we'll
Just
go into some things in a few minutes. All right. We'll deal with this in a minute. So let me do one thing. You got the camera set? Okay, now let me go play the water wheel. While they're doing that, I can just go ahead and start. You know, you have to get out of what is called moral dogma. Moral dogma was sent when the human history was over to teach us savage people how to behave through moral dogma. That has nothing to do with you. God couldn't give a doggone whether you stood butt naked and farted all over the doggone underground of Atlanta. You got to think on a high level. That's the problem. You too stuck in tradition and moral dogma, and you good people, but you good dead people. You see what I'm saying? You people get sick, you don't know what in the hell to do. Still sending them to these damn doctors, and the doctors giving them up for dead. You see what I'm saying? Anything that comes down to your livelihood or anything that comes down to your well-being, you can't do nothing. But yet you just as religious as you can be. You understand? And that's the problem. Religion had killed thousands of you. You see, you talking about crack. Try getting off some damn gospel. Although, now, I'm anti-organized, male, chauvinist religion, not necessarily anti-scripture. There's a difference. You don't need no idiot standing up in no church hollering at you going 4 years into the so-called white man's millennium, or just for the sake of argument, because this is the year 2000, 2001. You don't know. So it's the difference between going to your scriptures, your Quran, your Bible, and letting the Spirit jump out at you and you turning stuff around than to let an idiot teach you about the scriptures. That's the problem. The Freedmen's Bureau is all government, organized religion that's used to hold you down. By churches, and we pray more than anybody. How the hell we gonna pray more than anybody in the world, but yet we catching more hell? That lets you know that something has failed us. You out Pope the Pope, out Muhammad, Muhammad, out Judah, out Jesus, Jesus, out Buddha, Buddha, out Krishna, Krishna, out Yahweh, Yahweh, but yet you always at the bottom of the doggone pole. You see what I'm saying? Now obviously, study to know thyself approved, and people shall pass from a lack of knowledge. You understand what I'm saying? So that means you got these idiots that so-called teaching you that was trained by the Freedmen's Bureau to interpret the scriptures on a Eurocentric mentality, and therefore you are 140 years into this doggone thing, as far as we say 140 years into this particular thing when around the Reconstruction time when they set up the black colleges and the black churches, and now what? You still around here searching and still begging the cracker. You understand? So now, I think there's no way you can stand up here and tell me that your thing is doing it for black people. Oh, my Christian religion is doing it for black people. If you can say that, then hell, I'll bow down to you because I got a thing to learn. Correct me if I'm wrong. Check? Okay.
Yeah, Bobby Hemmett was definitely speaking some good information in that one.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you have to like how, if I'm not mistaken, that very same lecture, a lot of pretty much all of Bobby's lectures are from years ago, but this particular lecture, if I'm not mistaken, it probably came from the when he made it in the early 2000s. Either way, it's both interesting and sad how it's still as relevant today as it was back then. But suffice it to say, bro, the message was never for those who would remain fast asleep. You know what I mean? Because we know the masses throughout history, the masses were only ever good for one thing: getting slaughtered. You know what I mean? Because yeah, it's always up to the few to like what Rod Hayes said, it's up to the few, the alphas, so with for want of a better term, to literally make the necessary moves in order for the masses to also follow suit. So like yeah, just essentially summarize what it is that yeah, Bobby so straightforwardly shared, bro.
Oh yeah, for that one, it was definitely talking about like the ascension of consciousness and just like being more aware of like your surroundings and just making it on the other side, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, and how he mentioned about how religion in and of itself. Remember at the beginning of this life, how religion in and of itself is definitely harder to get off of than drugs. Because with drugs, we know that there's only so much drugs you could take before physically it messes you up. But religion, man, that shit literally penetrates your mind, and it literally corrupts your spirit. It handicaps you so badly to the point where the powers, essentially, just like what Bobby said, get out of this whole moral programming nonsense. Because you can't fucking tell me that if you were truly in your right mind, a motherfucker comes to attack you without you having instigated anything. Your number one, your number one action to take based off of that individual's own yeah, absurd actions would be to defend yourself. And you're going to so stupidly say that God is going to protect you from this attack or something like that. Like, that's the absolute madness that they had to bring us down to, bro. So like yeah, this whole thing about morals and whatnot, look, treat me as I look to be treated. I'll treat others as I look to be treated. You know what I mean? Like, it's just simple stuff, bro. Even a freaking 5 or 6 year old knows that. Yeah, treat them as they want to be treated.
Oh yeah, definitely, because like at this point, it's kind of like we just have to be more aware and more conscious and just see like different people as they are, because some people just not gonna get the information, so we just gotta accept it and not just try to like force it on people. But as long as we put the information out there for the white people, will see it for what it is.
hmm The last video with Dr. Mumbi, bro. Yeah, where it is actually in conjunction with what Bobby himself was speaking about regarding religion, and yeah, thankfully it appears that you could skip to 3 minutes as well, bro. But suffice it to say, um, yeah, skip to 3 minutes. But it really does appear that religion, especially in this new era that we're in, it's losing its stronghold. And that's honestly what we need to see, bro, because this whole religious nonsense, people need to really get off of that drug, because it really fucks with the mind, which is a direct gateway to the higher true self. You know what I mean? Take it away, Brandon.
Actually, even let me not go there, but even our politicians, even some of the wives used to follow those TB Joshuas. And of course, it talks a lot about how there was that massive, I felt it was a sacrifice And I felt like I talked about it back then. It was a massive sacrifice where hundreds of people were killed in his church. Now, as was suspected back then, it was showed that, you know, there were structural issues and all these things. We've seen also online, after the expose, people who had not even watched the documentary coming up and saying, you know, this is an onslaught on Jesus, this is an onslaught on a man of God, this is a but the sad thing is all the information is there. I mean, if you're part of this channel, first of all, you're like, whatever, who cares? But you'd be wondering, why did BBC even make that expose? But we're not even here to discuss that. What I'm here to tell you, family, is that we are witnessing a dismantling of religion on the motherland. And it starts with the evangelist. Now, if you're someone with a keen eye, or if you've passed through the corridors of the Catholics and the Protestants and the prosperity gospels, you will see that there's a silent war between these so-called traditional religions, which came with the Mzungus, and the more recent ones, where, you know, with our own, these mega churches and our own evangelists and so-called apostles and stuff, which have really captured they've reinvented church for the young people, and it's all about prosperity. You can make it, you're going to make money, seed this, do that. They've also gained a lot of popularity, but there's like an underground war between the two. But there's also hidden rules. So you'll never see one of them coming against the other, but there's hidden rules. That's why you'll see the evangelists of Africa never ever talk about how, and even the African American ones, they'll never ever talk about how even research now shows Jesus was black. They'll never show that the biblical story actually happened in Africa. So there's silent rules in that religion just game, family. There's certain things you don't mention because there's the old dogs who are looking at you. And I think, you know, and for a while, the traditional churches like the Catholics have been so hit. There's so much that's coming out about the boarding schools these guys ran, about how the you know, you've seen it, family, all the pedophilia and child abuse and everything that's against the Catholic Church. And a lot of it has not even come out. What they've been doing in Africa, even in these elite boarding schools, which are supposed to be the best of the best, those stories are going to come out and it's going to shock the world. But we saw them being hit very hard by the, you know, the traditional churches, and we didn't see the evangelicals or anyone kind of attacking them. It's like the religious boys all stay together. But now we're seeing the opposite. The evangelicals are being hit, family. And if you are in any kind of religious psychosis and you're still not asking questions, then truly, 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 you deserve to be deceived. You deserve to be where you are. But what we're witnessing now, family, is that already since 2020, there's been such an explosion, because now most Africans, especially like here in East Africa, get their news from TikTok. So the citizenry are the ones who are providing the information of what is happening locally. And they're the ones, there's been so much re-education of our people that has happened in the last 2-3 years about, you know, so much, family, about Yeshua possibly being Heru and all these things, and how, you know, the Israelites are actually black people. Oh, there's so much that's been coming out, family. So for this now to happen, and then you saw how TD Jakes, he still talked about it, looked guilty as ever when he, you know, and that's also been going viral. But there's a dismantling of the religious pillar. Remember when I used to talk about the 7 pillars that control, the 7 colonial pillars that control Africa or the world? Religion was one of them. And the religious dismantling, and I didn't even see this coming, but a lot of people, 2024 will shock the religious communities, because a lot of Africans are going to start leaving the church and returning to their mother religions.
Spiritual systems.
Because this is the year of reckoning. when fake power ain't gonna work anymore. You need to see some real divine spiritual interventions. And a lot of people are going to realize that part of their issues has been the religious miseducation. I don't want to call it psychosis because I know a lot of you guys have come out of it, or are coming out of it. So let me not call it psychosis, but religion is losing its stronghold across Mama Africa. And the only thing I'll say is that there are the so-called messiahs. The Queen of the South, as I always say, is back. The female messiah is back. There is an ancient prophecy among our people that said the next Bible would be written by women. I keep saying the mother of creation is back. And with her coming back, we all must now return to ourselves and not look for God or for a savior outside of ourselves in a man that looks like I and I, in a woman that looks like I and I. But now seek God within. We have suffered so much because of religious psychosis. Religion has done more damage to us and our ancestral connection. It has literally shut so many of us out of heaven, disconnected us, had people being recycled because they were waiting for a light at the end of the tunnel when they died instead of waiting for the face of their ancestors. There's so much more I could say this, but I'm actually going to give a spiritual angle on this on my secondary channel, Dr. Mumbi's Spiritual Show. But family, pay attention to this and pray that our people don't get misguided again. Pray that now, because you know the damage that religion does. And you know how earth-shattering for a lot of you on this show, we've been on this journey for the last couple of years of dismantling that psychosis in our own minds and the guilt and shame and fear that comes when trying to walk away from religion. So let us petition the ancestors to show grace and mercy to those of us that are still lost, but that are being tried to be awakened at such a time as this. And it's those same preachers and pastors who are bringing them all down, because guys like TD Jakes are the godfathers. Our prosperity guys are always preaching about those people. Even Nigeria, those are the godfathers of a lot of the other African, emerging pastors and evangelists. And those aren't just the only ones with the scandals, but those are stories for other days. Tuko pamoja.
Well, what can I say, bro? Yeah, so much information, so little time, but good stuff indeed. And what can I say, Dr. Bass? Thank you once again for another very well put together opportunity for us to just get into sharing the good stuff, because once again, it's not our duty to force anything upon people. We share the information. After that, each and every individual who had the privilege to listen to it, do as you please with it, because it's not our job to force anything upon you. We ain't these pimp pastors and preachers. Nah, they've done a lot of mental and spiritual damage to y'all over the years, and yeah, we're not about that. So yeah, just give a basic summary based off of what the lovely Mumbi herself shared, bro.
Oh yeah, for that one, we would really like they'll their power really holds into like religion and everything like that, but now it's getting dismantled. So at this point, you'll see like a lot of people gonna get challenged with their religious beliefs and everything like that, and at this point it's gonna be a show at this point because a lot of people are gonna be walking away from these churches. Then these churches can't be paying the bills. Then the churches will be dismantled and all this other stuff. So it's definitely gonna be like a movie out here.
Hmm. And like what Mumbi said, uh, there are secret society wars going on that we're not even very much aware of. But it's happening. There are secret society wars. There are wars among these secret societies that are going on, and these churches may as very well be converted into something more useful, like a homeless shelter or something along those lines, because I mean, you're just preaching a bunch of garbage to people that clearly has no real spiritual power within it. But for people to literally tap back into their ancestral roots and their true spiritual power within themselves, and to worship a god outside of yourself, that shit's coming to an end. And this is definitely the era to rejoice and literally watch everything go down, bro.
Yeah, cause it's definitely gonna go down to like sooner or later. So it's definitely just gonna be exciting to watch.
Oh yeah, definitely. And with that Venom action,
Yeah.
yeah, triple blackness, melanin power, bro. But oh yeah, Dr. Bass, thank you so much, bro. And yeah, let the people know what's going on in the background, bro. Any new plans? Any good stuff that the people should know about?
Yeah, just check out the social medias, links are in the description. Make sure you share the podcast and everything like that. And yeah, but that's mostly it. What about you, man?
Oh yeah, me, I ain't got nothing to say except yeah, remember this is not our realm, this is not our home, but every opportunity we get, yeah, be very grateful and remember you are the creators of your reality, so it's all up to you, brethren. Yeah, grow, become better each and every minute, every second, and yeah, definitely get back to who it is that you truly are. And much appreciation for the opportunity once more, Dr. Bass, and it's very wise of you to share this not just on YouTube, which is an absolute mess in and of itself, but to various social media platforms so that anyone, anytime, anywhere could literally just access it on various platforms. So, very wise move on your part, Mr. Bass.
Oh yeah, that's man, definitely.
Definitely. Hey, Brandon, thank you so much once again, bro. Everyone, yeah, so give it a like and definitely do your research and tap back into who it is that you truly are because remember, this is just a video game type of experience. And once again, thank you very much, Brandon.
Oh yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, peace, bro. Yeah, peace.